Okay, so this is week 7 review um, for what I did this week. This week mostly I ordered my stuff for my um, solar panel. Got all that ordered, and I finally got it in the mail. Um, so looking to hopefully get started on that. But I did do the boys and gaming education scenario. Um, so let's check that out. So this talks about the TED Talks and it was interesting that I'd never heard of a TED Talk before, but it was pretty interesting how she was making the argument. Basically, what I was talking about whenever I gave my response was I actually thought she did a pretty good job of formulating an argument and bringing good possible reasons of why you have the difference in boys and girls. I guess disciplinary action is what they were essentially what they were judging those things based off of. But I focus mainly on the fact that the lack of male teachers. So the rules, regulations, all those things, those are all, the judgments are all being levied by females who obviously have a difference of, the ways that they interact and associate and just general outlook on life. And it's not to say that they aren't right, that they're right or wrong. They're just different. I think it's pretty evident that men and women see things differently and they react to the same situations differently. Um, and I related in my own life how I look back over my most influential teachers in my life. A lot of times were usually men, and I think the reason for that is that they were able to relate and were able to formulate the curriculum to fit my interests and needs, and it kept me engaged in the because when I was not engaged, I believe I got a little bit more I don't know, unruly, I guess. That being said, I did have a couple of really good female teachers, but even then, if I look back and remember correctly, they were more they brought a lot of elements into the classroom of sports and things that I was interested in at the time. And I don't know if it was just because they were tailoring the curriculum to meet my essential to keep me focused, which I believe is that's a good thing. But and then I felt like the ones that I had the least amount of success with were typically the older female teachers who, even when I look back now and I see, I see my nieces and nephews at school, some of the teachers that I had when I was there are still there, and frankly, they should just retire. They're old and they're not sympathetic a lot of times to young kids. I think they're just grouchy, but that's not a scientific analysis. So anyway, I talked a little about that, and then of course I did the week 7 neat video. And this week it was on solar panels, and I posted about how the solar panels were made. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed that one. It's quite detailed and there's a lot more work that goes into it than I was expecting. So that was pretty neat. Then of course my goal is to be working on my solar panel this week and hopefully get it done, get it done so we can start working on the team presentation together. And I believe that's it. So talk to you later.